Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having us here today. My colleague and I from Liquide would like to present to you the smart and innovative operation transformation in the Southeast Asia region. So I hope you guys are not too hungry, and please lend us your ear for a while. To begin with, I will introduce myself first. So I'm Yiling. I come from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, which is the other side of the world. But okay, I studied in France and I graduated with a master's degree in chemical engineering. I joined Liquide around roughly 6 months ago, and I'm in charge of developing and deploying digital tools on all the large industrial gas plants in Southeast Asia. I liaise with the ecosystem, which includes the site teams and also the IT developers, to make sure that the best product is made outside for our key users in the production plant. Other than that, I also ensure that there are a fresh wave of field innovation after the first implementation of all the digital tools that I deploy. So now I'll let my colleague to introduce herself.
Thank you, Eileen. Hi, I'm Fang. You can call me PF. So I started at Liquide 2 years ago as a real-time engineer. So mainly in charge of driving more than 15 plants remotely across the Southeast Asia. So mainly optimizing, adjusting the plant load, and also looking a way to achieve the best economical point for our production units. So with the collaboration of experienced operators at site, strong interaction with the local engineers, and also the local expert in our center, and the leading edge tools that we had on hand, we are able to achieve more efficient productions day-to-day adjusting. And moving on with 1 year experience as a real-time operation, I move on to a new position, which is right now a performance analyst manager. So currently, I also remotely optimizing my multiple plants production, focusing on the day-to-day production planning, adjusting the energy strategy in the market, and to achieve as well using all kinds of predictive tools at hand to achieve the production's efficiency. So before I'm moving on, so what's Liquide? We actually a company that using a positive energy, which is the air, to create the values to our customers. So Liquide is the world leaders in gaseous technologies and also services for industrial and health. So we are presenting in 80 countries with approximately 66,000 of employee men and women. So yes, so by using the customer-centric transformation strategy, we aim at a profitable growth over a long period of time. So our revenue will be 21 billion with a net profit of 2.1 billion euro. So we serve more than 3.6 customers and patients all over the world. So we offer products, engineering, and services, including like oil and gas, electronics, manufacturing, and also health. So large industry production is our main basins. So we are existing for 420 units all over the world. So as you can see, this is all the production units. So our aims is focusing on the safety of process and the people. So we manage all the efficiency of the productions unit. We aim to continue to improve on our day-to-day productions. And in order to manage the productions units at hand in Southeast Asia, we need something like a control tower. So just like an airport, every day there was thousands of airlines, a lot of airlines flying over. So we need something like a control tower to give instructions and giving order for all to ensure the day-to-day flying schedules. So same as us at Liquide, we present in Malaysia as a control tower, our central teams that monitor on-screen of all products to fit the customer need, either supplied by a pipeline or delivered by a fleet of more than 150 trucks every single day. So the team itself transmitted all the information remotely using a secure network to set all the production set points and also start-stop production units. So let's Eileen to move on to our smart innovative operation center.
So to tell you guys about the story, it all begins in 2017 when the Smart Innovative Operations Center was commissioned. It is actually established to act as a nerve center to transform our large industry to embrace the digital transformation model. Leveraging on the 4 pillars of operation excellence, which includes automation, digitalization, data analytics, and expertise, we will be able to integrate, optimize, and remotely control the operation of our large industrial production unit across the Southeast Asia Pacific. We will go into details later on about the 4 pillars. But first of all, let's see where we are based. So, as I mentioned before, we are based in Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital city of Malaysia. As we are established to really provide support for our Southeast Asia region, Kuala Lumpur proves to be a very, very strategic point for us for various reasons. First of all, Kuala Lumpur is very competitive point for us in terms of strong and reliable infrastructure. Secondly, we are well supported by a motivated and well-qualified talent pool. So in that case, we get to collaborate with many startups and universities to transform our industrial operations. Following the mindsets of other countries towards Industry 4.0, Malaysia is also quickly upgrading towards this mindset. As our production units span across 9 countries, which includes all of the above that is illustrated here, so Southeast Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, etc. This region itself is a very, very challenging geography because all of the plant is at least 1,000 kilometers apart from each other, which is around 620 miles, I guess. And the area covered comes to a whopping total of 12 million square kilometers. I guess that is around 7 million square kilometers, miles, sorry. Yeah, and so now I will present to you our team in Kuala Lumpur. We are comprised of 45 people with average age of around 32-year-old. We have 15 real-time engineers who works around the clock to identify and analyze any process deviation and then provide solution to make sure that our plant is running at the best economical point. We also have 15 performance analysts, like my colleague here, who will deploy digital tools to optimize multiple plant production by preparing the production planning strategy. 10 industrial experts from different fields such as instrumental, electrical are also present to provide support to the operations. Last but not least, we also have 5 energy specialists that is in charge of implementing the energy management strategy and energy business model across Southeast Asia. As you can see just now that our plant is really scattered all around the region. While our expert often flies over to provide support to our production unit across the region, we also deeply rely and collaborate with AMA, our supplier for smart expertise tools, for a closer follow-up. Okay? Now I will leave Fang to continue with the 4 pillars of operations excellence that we have.
Yeah, so about the 4 pillars, we actually leverage automation, also expertise all around the world with the digitalization tools that we will briefly talk about it later on, and also the data analytics skills that we had on hand to leverage over the 10 years data that we have been collecting from all the plants production unit all over the world. So let's me moving on with the first pillar, the automation. So in order to achieve automated, we need 4 main elements that we had on hand in Liquide. So I will move on to those 4 pillars. The first one will be the SIO drive. So it is all about the conventional operation that moving onwards into a remote operation with a high level of automation and infrastructure that we built to make it possible for the centers that we had on hand in Malaysia. The second one will be the SIO Predict, which is we are doing detections of some potential failures on all our key rotating equipment to prevent any incident happen beforehand. The third one will be the SIO Perform. So SIO Perform is we are using the data-driven production efficiency optimizations to use our data to find it the best economical point that we had in past to operate our future plants day-to-day productions. So the final one will be the SIO Team. So this SIO team, we are actually express our business variables and constraint into a mathematical model, which just like a digital twins that we had on hand. And using these digital twins models, we are able to optimize using the solver itself to come out with the solution.
So other than the digital tools, the SIO tool that's my colleague has just presented to you, in order to fully transform our production plants into digital plants, we would also need to implement digital tools on site itself. So what we have here is actually that, first of all, we will have the smart glasses. With the smart glasses, we will be able to see what our operator sees. So for example, I told you that in our center in Kuala Lumpur, we have experts who are stationed there. So using these smart glasses, we will be able to provide assistance and also witness straight away what is happening on site directly. Then next, we also have the electronic logbook, which are developed in-house by ourselves to keep track of all the happenings that is on site. So as this is a very online platform, the communication between our team in Kuala Lumpur and also the site team which is elsewhere, such as in Singapore, Philippines, are made more efficient. With using this platform also, we will be able to keep track of all the happenings on site, and this information can be used for further analysis. Now, imagine that your toilet flush stopped working one day. What will you do? You would probably call the plumber, or maybe you will start Googling and trying to repair it yourself. So most of the case, you will find a tutorial on YouTube on how to repair your toilet flush, right? So in order to have the same concept, we actually develop, not to say develop, but we also have a video tutorial tools which allows our expert to provide tutorials for our operators. And our operators will be able to learn through this platform itself. Last but not least, we also deploy tablets on site to improve the mobility for our operators in the production plant. It's the same case as when you are noting down a meetings for the minutes of your meetings. Don't you find it easier to record it down straight away instead of like, okay, I will go into the meeting and I will record it later on? Same concept here, we are trying to provide the same conveniency for our operators. So using the tablet, our operators will be able to record straight away the information needed on the tablet itself. And besides that, using the tablet, they will be able to access document and available documentation wherever they need and whenever they need on site.
Okay, so we actually gather about 1 billion of data every single seconds from all the units we had on hand over the world. And we have been gathered, as I say, we have been gathering all this kind of data for over past 10 years. So we have to make it smart to utilize all the data at hand. So by 2020, our ambition is to achieve a double gain of efficiency and having a zero unplanned shutdown. So in order to achieve this target, we actually need to have a mindset of a leading approach, meaning instead of we doing some, we detect the incident occur and doing some preventive actions towards all these kind of incidents that have been happened. We right now are using a leading approach mindset, meaning that we do a potential failure analysis before something happens and prevent the things from happening. So the second will be the industrial sustainability. So we have been employing a lot of digital tools using all kinds of data at hand. But we have not only to implement it, but also to improve it and continue the improvement at hand. And data itself always tells us a story that we did not see before, and which is great. But we really have to highly depending of the community that we have, the expertise we have in hand. in order to help us to validate and support the business decision we make. So we are having vast amount of expertise around the world. And how do we actually help all these kind of expertise come to share with us the experience, discussing about the troubleshooting that they had been made, all kind of solution that they had in head. So we need something called digitalization transformation. And we have a combine of 150 plus experience of the expertise all over the world. And all these 11 technical community leader has been recognized by our group Liquide. And to connect all these expertise all over the world, we are connected via the AMA services expertise. And not only the expertise that we had on hand, we need a very good ecosystem. So actually, we collaborated with AMA since 2015 across 5 countries, as you can see right here, Egypt, Paris, Singapore, and so on. So by 2019, with the 4 years collaboration that we had on hand with AMA, they have been recognized by Liquide as a trusted services across these years of time.
Yeah, so as we have mentioned about the close collaboration we have with AMA, here is just a map illustration of all the collaboration we have so far, which is really across the globe, everywhere. So it includes, like my colleague just mentioned, so there's United Arab Emirates and Japan, Malaysia, France and all. So to tell you more about AMA, AMA is the company that supplies us with their smart glasses, which is called the EXPERTEYE. Through this EXPERTEYE, we will be able to hold video conferences in a more secure environment with more than 2 people actually. While keeping our hands completely free, we will be provided with valuable insights and recommendation for troubleshooting from our remote expert, which is stationed in Kuala Lumpur, for example. And the good thing about AMA is that the EXPERTEYE our expert will be able to show us the document for the operator also. So it works 2 ways. And to tell you more about the background now, AMA is actually a well-funded company founded by Guillemot, who is here today. And he is also the co-founder of Ubisoft, which is the video game company. They have a very huge global presence with subsidiary across the world, which includes Rennes, Boston, Cologne, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. Having 30 ongoing projects, they serve over 250 clients spread throughout 80 countries. And they are working really closely with large global groups.
Okay, so you might have a question in head, like why we choose EXPERTEYE. So basically, there's 5 reasons for us to choose EXPERTEYE. So we are provided with all the hardware like smart glasses, smartphones on site with the operators to help us in the center. We can see it lively what is happening, and help us a lot during like troubleshooting, maintenance job at hand. So what operators see inside is what we see in the center. So it is very user-friendly, meaning we don't need any extra downloads of apps and so on. It's just connected directly, very easily. And the service provided by AMA is there's a lot of trainings, on-site training, and see on all kinds of functionalities that we had on hand. And they will do all the tested, having a wide range of stage until we manage to find the importance of functions that suit all the operators in the production unit side. And it's continuously to improve the functionality that at hand, meaning we will have a discussion in more details of what we need with the AMA, then they're trying to match out what they can do. And also, the most important thing for us is high security at hand, because we are managing data day to day, and it's really important to us. So the high security platform provided by AMA is really important in order for us to be more advanced in our remote operations and also the interaction with the operators. And yes, that's the main reasons we choose EXPERTEYE, and we will continue to work further on this.
All right, okay, so to conclude, actually, on our path towards digital transformation, I believe that wearable technology and gadgets are really the independent means for us to achieve this goal, because this is what the future will be. So to conclude our presentation today, we would like to show you this video about our center. So yeah, would you mind? Oops, I think I have to click from the... Okay.
In January 2017, Air Liquide inaugurated its first Smart Innovative Operations Center in France. January 2018 marks the inauguration of the first Smart Innovative Operations Center in Southeast Asia and the Pacific. Based in Kuala Lumpur, the Smart Innovative Operations Center will be progressively connected to 18 production units, producing gases for industry and health. Spanning 8 countries in Southeast Asia and the Pacific, including Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Australia, and New Zealand, with the potential for more. Smart Innovative Operations will enable the convergence of machine-gathered data and human intelligence to advance plant-wide optimization and management objectives, enabling 24/7 responsiveness to customer demands, improvement of the energy efficiency of its production units, and the leveraging of predictive maintenance to ensure continuous facility runtime. Just like a control tower, employees in Kuala Lumpur can monitor the quantity of oxygen, nitrogen, argon, and hydrogen needs of a customer 300 kilometers away in Singapore, or even 9,000 kilometers away in New Zealand, adjusting the production units in real time to meet customer demand. And at the same time, with leverage on the analysis of 10 years of data collected, the operating center team can identify the most efficient settings for each production unit to optimize energy. Synergizing with the digital team in Paris and the information technology team in Singapore, the Smart Innovative Operations team is also deploying a set of new analytics tool, SIO Predict, that is able to detect weak signals on potential failures on rotating and electrical equipment. SIO Perform, that ensures units are operated at the best economical point, and SIO Optim, to optimize the production versus the demand, taking into account uncertainties on energy and the markets. SIO Drive, to remotely operate production units in a safe manner with robust and advanced cybersecurity features. Big data analysis is deployed for energy efficiency and maintenance for optimal operation. Air Liquide collects 1 billion bits of information every day from around the world. Taking advantage of this massive data, Air Liquide engineers created a data analysis program that define the most efficient and energy-smart operations and amplify weak signals that precede a malfunction for preventive maintenance. Air Liquide also worked with several startups to develop new digital technologies that were adapted for its on-site production teams. Connected eyewear allows a technician to immediately visualize the safety of the premises being visited, see maintenance instructions and information in real time. These glasses have an integrated camera that can also transmit sounds and images from the technician's environment to Air Liquide experts and the remote support team. From the computer screen, an expert can observe the situation and offer visual instructions with the use of the mouse. Air Liquide also developed a virtual help desk accessible through mobile applications to fully understand our operations. With the help of a tablet, a technician can enter or access information in real time. An archive of videos is also made available, capturing actual situations that visually explain key concepts and complex procedures. Training is an important component of ensuring competency in smart, innovative operations. And the introduction of training with virtual reality takes training to a new level. It will enable users to have an immersive and engaging simulated experience that allows them to achieve acclimatization, important for success in the actual environment. Air Liquide continues to develop its connected devices and infrastructure, generating a massive amount of data in an evolution of usages. Air Liquide SIO Center, built for the future. Ready now. In the Air Liquide Southeast Asia Cluster, in Kuala Lumpur.
All right, thank you very much for your attention.
So now we open for questions.
Anyone? Questions? Oh, yeah. Introduce yourself. Hey, this is Sohail from Clark Construction. I was wondering what kind of learning methods you were using for your predictive analysis, and can you explain it more in terms of like what sort of input data you were using, what exactly you were trying to predict? I would want to know more about that data analytics part.
Okay. As we say, we always have collecting all kinds of data over the years, and how we can actually utilize it. As mentioned, we're focusing on 4 ways. Meaning we're having digital twins to build out our models, to utilize the data, and to came up with the mathematical model way to support and validate our decision making. It helps us to cut out a lot of times in doing all kinds of design based on the design formula simulation at hand. So we are studying using data, what kind of restriction that we had on hand in the production unit sites. So this will carry into the mathematical model itself, and using the optimizer to save a lot of time to come up with a solution. The second thing is we also having a platform called SIO Perform, which means we are using this platform to study all kinds of historical data and look out the best economical point that we had on the past 10 years of experience that we had. And from there, we will discuss with the expertise that we had over the world using the services provided. It's very easy for us to communicate and know, like, do you have that same kind of situation at your side, and how do you actually resolve it? And that's why we have AMA in hand to help us for this kind of socializations that we had on hand. And also we have the SIO Predict, meaning we are using a trend of it to study how is the potential failures of all kind of equipment, how it behaved previously, and what is going to behave in the future. And we study the trend of it, how it's going to be maybe deteriorating, and we see how we can actually work on it, what is the related parameters that cause these all kind of failures. So these all kinds of tools that we had on hand to help us to be moving on this transformation of digitalization.
So my understanding is it was mostly of supervised learning, right? Mainly the first part, and then you had some KPIs to like measure your like target function in terms of how it's working with all the parameters involved in your decision making, right?
Yes, we did set a KPI for and all kinds of by using data, and from all this, how do we set KPI, what is the level of it based on the experience itself, and also based on day-to-day productions, and how do we fit the customer demands and so on. We had the target for it to able to let us to aim and achieve.
And may I ask your like error levels in your prediction?
Sorry?
Like average error levels of your predictive analysis? Like percentage-wise, kind of?
The percentage of error depending on which kind of level you look at it. So
Yeah, I
we
understand
doesn't
that, but
have
like
a set.
average kind of thing. I would want to know how accurate it is
How
working.
accurate between what we predict and what is in actual.
Yes, yeah.
I have to say, when we first started on all these kind of tools, the deviation is huge. But then before we actually launching towards the site, we have all kind of back testing and working on and on, research on and on to make sure that the deviation is smaller. Let's say like, if let's say it all depends on what is the production set point that we had to determine the deviation. And it's all about the ratio of it. It's not a fix for all kind of data we had on hand. So I have to say the deviation is large, and we trying to match whatever set point that we're trying to fit on, and slowly we're closing the gap for it. I'm not going to say that as now is perfectly no gap at all, but we did achieve that lower than gap, and we find that, oh, it's actually we able to achieve better than the best economical point that we set. We are continuing to monitor the gap itself, and we will having a dashboard for all these kind of KPI at hand, so that our real-time operation could actually look on it, and every single day, 24/7, they're trying to close the gap as small as possible. Yeah.
Thank you.
Someone else? I have a quick question, if that's okay. I know that there's a bit of a learning curve, even with virtual training. So I'm curious, even though it can be pretty accurate when you're doing it in the virtual world, how long do you feel, do you feel like the time is shorter to adjust to the real world? Do you think the time to adjust to that doesn't take as long?
Because I believe that with the virtual reality training, actually we will be able to train the muscle as well, because I think that's the most important to really make it more efficient. So I believe the training time will be shortened for that purposes, because at the same time, if we have, we can kind of immerse ourselves in that kind of situation instead of just like textbook studies. For sure, our memories will be, we'll be able to remember it easier and clearer, actually.
As answering to your question, because I start from a background of a real-time operation, doing a remotely. So I started as a graduate. So when I first started my job, I just started in the center. So I have no experience on site. So this is really important that we have a virtual reality to help us to build up the things at hand. I'm not going to say it's going to be same as virtual reality, but it gives us an exposure to it. This is super important for like me, just started. Yeah.
So, and you found it effective for you, like going through it, going through it yourself?
I should say become more confident on what I'm doing in real-time operation, at least have a mindset of how the operation going to work on, and it really helps me to grow. Yeah.
Do you feel like having that experience too has an effect on the buy-in for the company as well, now that you know firsthand how effective it can be? And that's my last question.
How?
I mean, she can go first, sorry.
In terms of company, I think this is another kind of training that they can actually meet to the employee itself to grow, because we spend a lot of traveling all over, so virtual reality really help us to make up the point, the gap it is, to closer the point it is. Instead of we spending a lot to travel as well and wasting a lot of times to make up that target. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Viviana Mejia. I work at Tetra Pak. We also have a predictive maintenance center. And we have been quite successful on being able to measure a KPI of reducing failure, right? So that is the first big gain that you have. Do you hear me? So how to reduce failure so you can improve your productivity. I'm not sure if you have already been in the stage that you can also measure reduction on maintenance cost. If you had so, how much time did it took you to feed the algorithm to be able to extend the maintenance routines outside?
Currently, as I say, it's not only the digital tool itself. The tool itself can help us to see what is the past trend of the equipment, how the behavior of it, and what is going to do it. And this have to be validated by the expertise, because they are the one know how the machinery going to work, and there is an extension that can be done, and they come out with the how to say, the business decision on it. So I could say it's a collaboration of the tool itself and the people itself that came out with the decision. It's not purely on the model itself that can actually tell us like this equipment can be extended for the maintenance job and so on. But the tool itself really help us to monitor how the things works on and what is the trend and what is the gap of it. And we did a lot of catches from the tools itself that giving us. So we study from the past and using the past to validate the future. And this is how we use up for the tools for the predictive maintenance. But in order to, whether we extend this is more onto a decision making and the people have to come in to see how it works, let's say a compressor, and they will study on the machinery part, study on the cooling water side temperature, study of the oil tank temperature, and so on. So every single part have to be validated. And also we need the local people. They are the one that started all this kind of job. So they know how the machinery gonna works. So we need the services that coming from the AMA, and they tell us to connect us together and came out with the decision making. So I could say it's the collaborative work is not purely on the tools itself, but the tools is the beginning to help us to have the mindset of it, like how the behavior is going to react on.